Good morning, LinkedIn Live, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. My name is Frank Lavinia, and it would help if I put my information below. And I'm here to do another book review. I got so much positive feedback the other day for my book review. I believe it was Wednesday or Monday. And figured I'd do it again. I do respond to comments, folks. So let's, while we're waiting, let's play that fancy little graphic I made. All right, today's book is a book that I listened to originally on audio tape. Oh, boy, I really need more coffee. So in case you're wondering, yes, these really are recorded live. So this is a book I originally listened to on Audible, and it was the semi-autobiographical, but it was really about life lessons about what this person learned. And this person is 50 Cent, also known as Curtis Jackson. Some of the younger folks may know him as the producer behind Power, and I think Ghost is the new show in his series. So here is the book. I liked it so much. You can tell when I like a book. I not only get the audiobook, but I also get the Dead Tree version. This is the 50th Law, and it's really about his life going from Queens, New York, being in some rather unsavory business, his relationship with his grandfather and his grandmother, and it was... I really like the cover. I really like the look. Anything with a Latin quote, man, gets me. But it's a really good book, and it talks about kind of the strategies in life that he's learned, whether it was his criminal activity in his youth, to his time in the music business, to his post-music career primarily, and in the television business, and how he planned it out. It was very... It's very good. I mean, his reading of it, Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent himself, reads it out loud. Of course, he would read it out loud. It's an audiobook. It's Friday. It's Friday, folks, man. It is Friday. But ultimately, I mean, it's really about... it's a really good read. When I was a kid, I spent some time in Queens. There's definitely some things I can relate to, neighborhoods I'm very familiar with, and it was just a really good read. And I think one of the things I never knew about 50 Cent was just how smart he is. I mean, he isn't like... I never thought he was stupid, but he is super smart. I mean, he is right up there with Dr. Dre in terms of just his level of intellect and intelligence. He is able to find ideas and synthesize them. He's follow him on Instagram now. He's quite the blast. But he's definitely someone you want to learn more about. So even if you don't like his music, if you've never heard of his music, he's got a plan, and he's executing on that plan, and that's just brilliant. He has another book, which is more of an autobiographical take on his life, the name of which escapes me right now. So, probably should have caffeinated it up before I did the live stream. They all can't be awesome, right? All right, so the Windows app needs some TLC. Let's just put it that way. Let's see what we got. I'll share my screen so you can not just see me struggle, but also understand what's going on side by side. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see if we can find it. So I'm kind of opening the kimono a bit. These are all the audiobooks in my library right now. So that's the 50th Law. That was really good. Extreme Ownership. I mentioned this on a live stream earlier in the week. That's definitely worth it. Each one of these, I mean, pretty much are all worth it. Let's see. Anything by Grant Cardone is awesome. I don't know if you've seen. I don't know if you've seen Undercover Billionaire yet, but it's pretty cool. I'll get into that in a second. Hey, someone's calling me on Skype. Wow. It's Teams. Okay. And it was. So you used to love 50. All right. I figured you, Bill, would love 50. So you've read it. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the music business, you're in the rap business, I think you kind of have to blow your own horn a lot. I mean, I appreciate it because he was pretty vulnerable about his family situation. And he has this one analogy that really helped me. And it was the idea of the ATM, right? Now, bear with me here. His idea of the ATM is that if you have people in your life that always take from you, take your energy, take your time, take your frustration, and you always give, what happens is, he says, just like an ATM. If an ATM broke down in the middle of any town, USA or the world, right, and you just walk up to it and just spit out money, everybody would go out to it until that ATM was drained. And he had some relationship with some family members that very nearly paralleled some relationships with some of my family members. And I kind of heard that, and I was like, ooh, he has a point. And he basically says you have to cut people like that off because, if you go to an ATM and it will always read out money or print out money for you, then it will definitely I mean, they'll do that until you're completely drained. And I've done that. I did that last year, and it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. A lot of these books are books. This, for instance, was, I believe, heard him speak on Ed Milet's podcast. And let's see. All right. Well, I'll have to figure it out which one it is. But ultimately, I've listened to the audiobook. It was really good. It was a good insight into the life and times of his. Robert Greene, Bill mentioned in his comment, Robert Greene. Robert Greene is probably most famous for his book, 48 Laws of Power, which you hear, it's a book that resonates with people in the business realm, the self-development world, the rap world, music world. What's interesting about that book is that it resonates with so many people because it's really about the fundamental thing that we all have to deal with. It's humanity, right? And kind of how certain people will pull the strings to manipulate power. And it was actually a book mentioned by Patrick Bet-David in Your Next 5 Moves. He makes it mandatory reading for everyone in his company, not because they want to be power hungry egomaniacs, but one of the tips of the book is it helps you kind of be aware of when those things are being done for you. So that's Robert Greene. Robert Greene has written a number of books. The 21 Rules of Seduction, the 40 something Rules of War. He's a really good author. And what I really like about the 48 Laws of Power is, and a lot of his other books, is that just the layout and typography. Like he'll have, he'll say what the law is, right? So say the law is, I don't know, there's 48 of them. I haven't memorized them. Sorry. But what he'll do is he'll say, this is the law, and then he'll give an example of the transgression of the law, like what was the lesson learned. And then there'll be another, following the law. And then there'll be kind of these little side stories throughout history, right? It pulls everywhere from, 1800s Ethiopia to modern day politics and war, and all going back into Greek history. It's just fascinating. Just kind of the wide breadth and depth of this guy's knowledge, where he can synthesize kind of these laws, just based on just what he's uncovered. So he's definitely an interesting author. I don't know. I still like 50 Cent. He hasn't really come up with a lot of music lately. He had the last song I have, at least according to Spotify, is a song called "Get Up," which is a great kind of wake up morning song. Trying to find the Windows Audible app. Definitely needs some TLC. That's all I'll say on that. Find a listen. Oops. Let's see. 50 Cent. Yeah, this is it. Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. This was actually the first one I read. This was really good. It talks. This was basically his autobiography. In terms of where. Okay, I don't want to play it. This was really good. It kind of talks about his life and how he decided to get out of the rap business and such. But if you're not really interested in his life story, start with this one, The 50th Law. I can't recommend it enough. I really love the craftsmanship on this, on the book. You got the little gold leaf, things like that. I really liked it. I really do. I can't recommend it enough. That's it for me. I have a lot of stuff I'm going to do. I normally I talk about data science and stuff, but I'm actually going to hopefully be doing some work with Purview. Azure Purview is the new version of Azure Data Catalog. Hopefully I'll have something to talk about that soon. Trying to get skilled up in that. As always, Andy and I have a bit of a secret project in the works. But if you're watching this live, thanks for watching. And if you're not watching this live, you're watching this recording, thanks again for watching. As always, I try to, oh, cool. I have, hey, look at this. Wow, cool. So my channel has got it noticed well enough to attract the spammers. Sometimes people would be mad about that, but hey, if I'm important enough to spam, I must be doing something right. So with that, I wish you a great day. Have a great weekend. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. I'm trying to do these more. I've done a stream basically every day but New Year's in 2021. So that would make this the 7th day in a row. So awesome. As always, if you want to get a free audiobook, if you go to thedatadrivenbook.com, you get bounced over to a page we have set up with Audible that will give us credit if you purchase a subscription. But if you don't purchase a subscription, then you can definitely get a free ebook. Oh, audiobook. Oh man. It's Friday, folks. I need more coffee. So that's the lesson I learned. I actually got up. My youngest was kind of sick this morning with, I think he ate something that didn't agree with him, not COVID or anything like that. But he was up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., and I've been up since 4. I actually watched Undercover Billionaire. And finally, I haven't actually watched the whole thing. I'm about halfway through. But I did see the whole part where Grant Cardone talks about his background and how he got started. First time ever, I saw pictures of his family, like his dad. He looks a lot like his dad. I don't know Grant Cardone, but like I've listened to his books so many times. Andy and I, Andy Leonard and I, my co-host, we quote him all the time. So it was cool to see him kind of introduced to a much wider national audience. This show. I was watching it with my 6-year-old, and he kept saying like, oh, like that's Grant Cardone. That's Grant Cardone. He knew him. So Hey, thanks for watching, Amberish. LinkedIn is putting my live show in the feed. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I've been doubling down on LinkedIn for the last maybe like 12 months. I just think it's a professional network, and if you look at kind of what's happening on the other social networks and just how weird and or toxic it gets, I'm very glad that LinkedIn has stayed relatively civil. It's been a tough year for relatively civil conversations. Um, but if you're interested in the comments, I can review another one of those books that I got. Um, thanks, Amberish. Thanks for. Hopefully, I said that right. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, LinkedIn, for having me in the feed. That's pretty awesome. Um, not that I don't like the other social networks, but LinkedIn is clearly my favorite. I can definitely connect with professionals and kind of talk need data science and kind of business issues. I enjoy it the most. I recommend this book. I don't have an Amazon affiliate link. So the only thing I can give you is the free audiobook, but definitely check it out. I love when the author reads his own work, his or her own work. It adds such another flavor of the work. No disrespect to voiceover artists, but if I I have written a book, but if I were to, write a book and then do an audiobook version of it, I would kind of add little bits and parts and things like that. And um, the person most famous for this actually is Grant Cardone. He'll kind of like, well, yeah, this is what I meant. A bunch of other authors have done that too, and I think that's great because an audiobook is not just a transcript or read aloud version of just the text of the regular book. It's also a different medium, so you have a lot more interesting work on that. I really like the book that David Goggins did was Can't Hurt Me. It's kind of like a cross between a podcast interview series and an audiobook. So what happens in that book, and that is a stellar book. Can't recommend that enough. But what they'll do is he'll read out his chapter talking about something that happened to him. And then the co-author and him will kind of interview, like, well, how did you feel when that happened? How did you feel when that happened? I haven't picked up the Dead Tree version of that. Maybe I should, but I don't know if that's in there. So I thought that was a brilliant use of the medium. And I really hope that more authors will get more innovative like that. So once again, thanks for watching. My name is Frank Lavinia. Those are my 3 URLs, franksworld.com, datadriven.tv, impactquantum.com, and you can reach me out on Twitter, at Frank Digs Data. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Amberish. Thanks for everyone who's watched live and commented. Post a note in a comment if there's anything else you want me to cover. Shoot me a message on LinkedIn or whatever platform you can reach me on. I am on Twitter at Frank Digs Data. I don't spend as much time on Twitter as I used to, but I'm always on LinkedIn. So with that, I wish you a good weekend. Maybe I'll be on. I haven't talked about another studio setup I had. I say studio. I'm in my basement. Right above me is like is an open duct because we had a flood, right? So I have another camera set up there that I think will be quite innovative and quite useful. So with that, I will wish you goodbye and show you some of the fancy graphics that I am super proud of.